Morning, everybody. Welcome to the bunker again this morning here at Powermetrix in Knoxville. We got a lot of people in the room today, spread out, but we got a lot of people in the room today. So we got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to show you several things today. It's going to be a good one. So first of all, you're going to meet one of our new employees here, Jeremiah Swann. So we're going to talk about Jeremiah for a minute, and then we're also going to talk about the PowerMaster 4. We're going to create a phantom load setup. We're going to run a meter test. We're going to use the field socket adapter, and we're going to run a calibration verification. So what we're actually going to do today is we're going to run some normal tests on a 12S, a full load, light load power factor test on that. We're going to show you how to set up a solar site. If you're going to set up a solar site where you're going to have received power instead of delivered. And then also we had some folks ask about element tests, where you can test the individual elements, A, B, and C, rather than all phases at the same time. Then we're going to do a creep test. To show you that you can use the 4 series as a warm-up board and a test kit. So we can use the creep test to power up a meter so you can program it. And then we're going to also show you, a lot of folks have asked us about the adapter you plug in, which allows us to test meters that you can't, you don't have accessibility to pull them. Okay, so if you have panel mount meters or other meters you can't pull, you can use an adapter to make the connections do that. We're going to show you that. We're going to also show you barcode, so how you can use a barcode scanner. And then last but not least, we've brought in the Professor Ray Gore, and he's going to show us a verification of a 4 series. Okay? So we got a lot of good stuff going today. So as we said, first of all, Jeremiah Swann. There's a picture of his family. He's our new Eastern Regional Sales Manager. And his territory covers, like I said, the East Coast, all along the East Coast. He worked at Wake Forest for many years. You can see he's got a lot of years of metering experience there, 23 years. You can see his family right there. What you don't see in there is he's got a brand new little baby girl. And I think she's been teething, so he hasn't been sleeping a lot. So you can see he lives in Bakersfield, North Carolina, so he's in a great position north and south to cover the territory. And here are, just to give you an idea of the coverage we've got now, because we have added 2 new folks. You can see Jeremiah is in the blue over there. He's covering that East Coast, as I said. Kent Lowry is new for us in Central U.S., so he's going to cover the purple there. And Martin Hyatt, if you've been with Powermetrix and known us for a long time, you know Martin. He's been with us a long time. Martin's out west. So, and then I've got some folks that I just still handle there in the red, but and then I do international. So now we're going to talk about the 4 series a little bit. You can see it's automated, 0.04% accuracy. We can get a 30 or a 50 amp model if you got some class 320 meters. We do have a 50 amp model, so you can test those. It is lightweight. It's everything we've got's got a handle on it, so you can use it in the shop to test meters in the shop, or you can carry it out in the field. Either way. So, like we said, we've got customers that got little setups in their truck so that they can just have it already set up in the truck, and they can just put the meter in there and rock and roll. So now I'm going to turn it over to Jeremiah, and Jeremiah is going to start doing some tests here. First of all, we're going to do a test on a normal test on a 12S. We'll show you how to put everything in the 4.
Hi, I'm Jeremiah Swann. I started with Powermetrix the first of the year, so I'm glad to be able to come and help out. When all this COVID-19 is over, I'll enjoy getting out, meeting some customers,
right,
and mingling with people. Thank y'all for the opportunity to come on and see the 4 series.
There we go.
So we'll start out with the 12S meter. So as you see that we do got it open right now, there's a handle up here for open and close. So we'll put the meter in. Then we'll switch the jaws to lock. The meter won't fall out then. So just like all the other Powermetrix equipment, runs the same software. So we got site set up. Meter test, we'll do a meter test. Number 2. We're going to go through the adapter a little bit later. This is a form 12S. So we'll go down, we're going to select the 12. We will select our meter. .12S meter. People have asked about the barcode scanner, so we will scan. Now you see right here we have 3 options: internal, aux, and KYZ. We are plugged into the box, so we're just going to use our internal, the blue snake, to do our pickups for our pulses.
So the test you're doing now, Jeremiah, since you set it up on test no site, so that would be like if they just got a pallet of meters and they just wanted to test the meters, because you don't have it associated with a site right now.
Nope.
So if you just wanted to test a bunch of meters, and then you can sort them by that manufacturer number.
Yep.
Is how they pull them up. There you go.
Yeah, you can sort them through. So we're just going to go through and just, if you had a bunch of meters you just wanted to test, plug and play. All right, so we got all that. Case of H. There it is.
There you go.
Case of H is 14.4 on this. We're using that. We're going to go to next. So here we're going to just do a normal test. Alright, so it's the same as all the rest of them. It's got to do its warm-up. It's going to check, make sure everything's good. We don't want to add load when it shouldn't be added, or voltage. So it's looking, making sure.
And it's just like all of the equipment with us, everything's on the pre-setup. So when we were in here this morning, that's what we were doing. We were creating these phantom load tests, and once they're in there, they're just in the drop-down boxes.
Yep.
So to what we were doing this morning, Jeremiah was sitting there setting up all these different phantom load tests in there. You know, a solar one, a normal one, an element one. These ones we're going to talk about here later. But once they're loaded in there, they're just in the drop-down boxes, and when they're in there, they're in there. So you don't have to do it but one time, that first time.
And we'll set all that up when you buy the equipment. We'll come
Absolutely.
out. Free day of training.
That's right. And that's really one of the big things is you get the input from the customers and you ask them,
Yeah.
what do you want? What's pass or fail on a meter? What's pass or fail on a CT? What do you want? And you can load it all in there. What phantom test do you want to run? Yeah, we got some solar sites. You can load all that stuff in there, and then when you get out in the field, it's just drop-down boxes.
All right, for time purposes, we're going to do just one pulse. I know Ray's in here, he's going to fuss because we normally wait for 2, but we're in a controlled environment in the lab, so we're not getting no false pulses.
Easy. And how many pulses do you have it set up for on these?
These, for our time purposes, I just set up for 1.
Right.
1 pulse. You can change that. We see a lot of times 331.
Yep.
555.
1052. That's right.
Yeah, just different things for different pulses.
But to try and speed stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? This is a good chance for me to get a vote. Oh, they can't see your beard. I was going to get a vote on your beard.
He ain't doing nothing with the beard.
I've been giving him a hard time about trimming his beard this morning, folks.
I seen the last Tuesday's episode, somebody had a ponytail up in here.
Easy, easy.
So
And of course, that was his argument. I said, man, you got to trim that beard. You had a ponytail. I said, oh, what I got for that?
And if I could have found one long, I'd have bought it and found me a
ZZ Top.
fuzzy guitar.
Been CZ up in here. Let's see.
We'd have got some jam on.
That's right. All right, so 100.05. So it's green up there. So what is that telling us?
Green's passed, red's fail.
Yep. So it met within whatever we said was pass or fail. It must be within those parameters.
And you'll notice right here on power factor, once it tests, that we did change that from 1 to 0.5 so that it's a poor power factor.
That's right.
So you can actually see the power factor was 0.499. And another good thing is to point out probably is the time. It actually shows you how long it took per test to run.
Absolutely.
Ron from Canada says beard is greater than ponytail.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's cold-blooded.
Vargo says you gotta trim it.
Ah, well, Canada's dead to me, and you're right, Vargo. There you go.
That's right, I know where Vargo lives.
That's right. We know Vargo. I knew he'd vouch for me.
You need one.
I got to have at least somebody.
And light load, it's going to take it a while.
Oh,
I mean, as we're running
That's right.
just a light load on it. I know I should have fired Vargo many years ago.
Oh, man, it's funny right there now. Look who you are. Whew. I needed that. Come on, light load.
Light load.
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Come on, man. All the folks out there going, yeah, they're nodding their heads going, yep, light load.
All these lights up here got me sweating.
I tell you, you got all that PPE on
All this
underneath.
gear on and
Y'all just
control
don't,
environment.
before this is over with, we got to show them the setup one time. We got to show them this whole setup in this room.
The bunker.
We really do. They wouldn't believe these lights and everything. Jared, this is serious.
Oh no, and I walked in this morning, I was like, really? This is where we're at this morning. Oh,
This
the
is
bunker.
We're in the bunker.
Locked down. We'll make sure it's accurate on light load. And I think whoever says they like the beard, I think we ought to give them a hat just for the fun of it, you know. I'll make sure Martin gets that guy a hat, 'cause that's Canada.
Yeah, that's right. We could send him hockey masks instead of
You gotta make sure it's a Canadian hat because they fit differently.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No, man. I was rolling with you, though. I was going along with you.
They're metric.
It's a metric hat.
All right, as you see now, the light load is finally tested. We got 100, 99, 100. So all that passed and
Yep.
we completed that test. So if there was a bad test and you wanted to go back, all you'd have to do is hit your up and down key. Then you could go back and you could test any one of them again. Just hit select retest once you get the orange bar on that to retest it.
Yep. Or just retest all of them.
Or retest all.
It's similar to the CT test, right? With
Yep.
the other equipment?
It's
You
the
can
same
retest
as the other
face.
equipment. That's the one good thing about it. Once you get like a 3 or a 7 series, 4 series, they're all
Yep.
the same setup. So you get familiar with it.
That's
That
right.
right there, if you bounce around, you're good with it. All right, I'm going to back out of this. I do want to show you something. So if we was going to go through here, and let's say that we was going to a solar site. So I select my solar. Now we want to do an edit, so I hit the edit there. Now if you go over here, you see that we got these tests set up. Right here it says DLV, which stands for delivered. If you wanted to change that, you could go right here to the little drop down, change it to received, and then you could run your solar test as in a, because we all know that solar runs backwards
Yep.
on a solar farm. So you could actually run the test as delivered. 3, you could run your full load, power factor, light load. Then the 4 series would automatically switch it and it would run it backwards to do the received load.
And we have folks, that's their standard test. They run
Yeah.
They run 3 delivered, 3 received, and then they might even throw in a VAR and a WAT test. They throw in other stuff, but that is a very consistent test around the country that people run 3 delivered, 3 received.
3
you
received.
see that a lot of subs in place, they do that.
And you can see how easy it is to do. So if once you're in the field, all you got to do is hit the little arrows over, and then once you're on the field that you want, you hit your little arrow with the square in it to drop it down, then you change it and go back out of it. Then you can save it. We've also been asked about the, we want to disregard that one. We don't want to save it. We don't want to change it. The element test. So if we wanted to run an element test, say we had a 3-phase meter in here and we wanted to run an element. The same thing. You can do the edit. You hit your little arrow over one where it says phase all. You can actually select A, B, or C. So you can actually set up 9 tests right there for full load, light load, power factor for each phase. So you could actually do it that way and have it pretty easy setup. It would take us a while to run all the tests.
That's right. So with all these different variables and changes, there's actually 16 unique setups and tests. For one set on these setups, 16 different unique tests you can, with all these variables between the phases and the delivered and received and everything else.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different unique tests.
There's a lot of different unique tests.
Cool.
So that also comes over where we changed, where me and John was talking about the pulses earlier. You see it automatically comes with 10. You can change that right there. You'll see I changed it to 1. So it's an easy thing to do. It's either going to pulse or timeout. Whichever one it gets to first is the one it's going to test on.
Yep. And you had set those up previous just so they could see it. You know, we wanted to show the changes, but if he had all those set up in there previously, he would just go to solar. He shows up to solar farm, picks the solar test, hits the button. Yep, cool.
Yep. So we're not going to save it.
Nope.
We're going to previous out of it, discard.
I'm going to do a creep test.
So now we wanted to show you a creep test. So let's say one of the linemen come into your office, say, here, I got a meter, I pulled it, no reading, didn't get the reading off of it, I was in a hurry, I forgot it. So you'll select number 4, creep test. We don't have it in a socket, so you're going to select, I still got my 12S in here, we'll select that. Now with this creep test, it'll also allow you to be able to program the meter. It actually shows the display, you'll get your readings, you can write that down for them. You can just sit there and let the meter run all day long if you wanted to.
Yep. So you actually got a combo warm-up board test kit.
Yep. Warm-up board test kit. Just it's all in one package.
Well, I'm glad you're showing this because I don't think we show enough people this. So I'm so glad it's going out today. Hopefully everybody get the word out. Cause,
programming feature too, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I said. You could use it to program. I mean, I know when I was on the cruise, how quick do you go out there and just snatch a meter out and plug it in, bad dog or something around.
That's right.
So it's a good way just to plug it in, get the reading on these AMI meters nowadays.
Good deal.
All right, we're going to exit out of that. All right. So now we got the adapter. So we're going to plug in the adapter. So let's say that you're at a substation site. You can't pull the meter. You got to leave the meter in, but you don't want to run no voltage, no current that can possibly backfeed through the system and possibly potentially open up something. So with this adapter, that's what we've done. So as you see, we've got all of our voltages open. The shunts, the currents, the returns, everything is open. We've put these in for isolators so nothing can be backfed through on these. One great thing about it is we're going to be using these little 6mm cables that you can unhook. And somebody stole. John is supposed to have my alligator clip ready and it's supposed to come through like this.
Here, I'll give you that alligator clip.
So there's our alligator clip. It will plug on to these. So if you was out and you didn't have the test switches with the holes in it to hold, you could actually take and use the alligator clip. But for safety, we're going to use the ones that are good.
Yep. I like if you got the holes, if you got those eyes in there, man, these
So what we're talking
these easy hooks
about
are great.
is see the little hook in it?
Yep.
It'll actually go in, and we recommend you go to the top side. It's easier to get it on and off, as you can see. At the bottom, you got all of these switches handles down, and it can be time consuming to try to figure it out.
Yep.
So I hook the ground up first, like always. Then I'm gonna hook my voltage. Red, yellow, and blue, A, B, C. And now with our, since we got everything open, we're gonna drive with this one. As you can see, the cable is black, so you'll recognize it pretty quick that that's gonna be a drive. It's gonna go on the short handle, the shunt. We're gonna go right up top. I think I am.
Yeah, you got it. Pull it to you. I'll go.
Then the return is white. So the one that we got open, got our isolator in, you can go right in there. We'll do the same for B phase, which is yellow.
What's your flow?
So our flow is going to come in through the black one, through this red drive cable, and it's going to come out right here through the return white. And since we got this isolator in here, it's just going to hit it right here and go right back to our machine to do a test.
That's right. So straight out the top of the shunt into the meter, and then when it comes right back out of the meter, it hits the top of the return. And that's where we've got our other one.
Yep.
So we're just running everything right across the top.
Right across the top.
Yep.
They keep throwing lights over here so to brighten it up a little bit, which makes it that little bit more harder. Just so y'all know. So as you see, I've got my voltages hooked, my ground, and I got all that hooked up, so we're ready for there. So we're going to go in here, we're going to do got to do my pickup on it. So this time we are going to use an external, the mag pickup. Alright, so we're going to do a meter test. Alright, as you'll see right here, we've actually got to check this box because we have the adapter in it now. So we've checked that. We're going to drop down, we're going to select our meter. Which on this one right here, we're going to have a 9S because that's what would be in your substations. That would what be in your big customers when you go out there.
Yep.
So I got to go there. Now I'm going to select my meter type that I'm using.
And if you didn't see the meter that you wanted in there, you would hit that
Meter editor right here.
and you could add a
You
meter
can add
in
it.
there.
You can take away. I mean, we've got a bunch of meters already preloaded in here.
Yep.
That'll bring up. And if you wanted to have them, you could turn them on or off. Or you could go right here and hit new, add a new meter.
Perfect. Yep.
All right, so we're going to use the barcode scanner again. Scan our meter. Picks it right up, meter number, so we don't have to enter it. We're going to check the case of H is 1.8. Now right here you see it's still on internal. We got to go to aux digital. We select that. Next. Okay, now right here wants to make sure we got all of our cables hooked up. It's telling us, make sure. So we've done all that. We've got all of our cables already hooked up. Now here's where we have to select it again. The site setup. We've already programmed it 9, but if you wanted to edit it, you do it just like you done the solar meters or the element meters earlier.
That's right.
And we just done 1 pulse
For speed.
for speed purposes. Alright, so now it's going to do the pre-check. Like all of our equipment, it wants to make sure that it does safety first. So it's going to run through these checks right quick.
So again, just to reiterate, if you had a meter that you could not pull, you could always use this adapter and put it in the 4 series, and we've got the different connectors on the end. We can put alligator clips, we can put these easy hooks on there. And you should be able to get in there and test panel mount meters,
Panel
or
mount,
just anything
any
you
kind
can't
of meter
pull.
that you can't pull.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That's what makes this piece of equipment so universal.
Yep.
You can use it in the office, in the van,
Yeah, pull the meter, not
pull the meter. Again, we're going to do just one pulse. I actually done two, so we're good.
Ray won't yell at us. All right.
So I stayed in Ray's graces on this one. Y'all just can't see him outside the camera fussing when he only does one pulse. So we're going to run full load, power factor, and light load again.
I could tell a Ray story while we're waiting.
Go ahead.
Ray's here to defend himself, but he's not wearing a mic. So.
That's exactly right. I noticed he didn't have a mic, so I said, before he gets a mic,
Remember, he is next.
I could tell the story about when I got sick in Mexico, and I was on the phone, look at him laughing. I was on the phone with Ray. Woo.
$99.
Looking good.
So John, 99 customer favor or utilities favor?
Well, 99, anything less than 100, the utility's losing. So they're not
money.
losing much here.
No, not much, but
Just
that's a
tiny
question
bit.
you get asked.
Yeah, that's
out
right,
a lot of
all the
times.
time, yeah. That 100 number, above or below.
Yep.
Now, how does it work for CTs?
CTs is just the opposite.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Oop. So I'm in Mexico. That's all I gotta say. Ray starts laughing.
Ray walks out.
He starts laughing. That's funny. That's funny.
It's on light load, so it's going to take it a minute.
Yeah, it'll take a few minutes.
You got time to tell your story now.
I do have time to tell a story, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in Mexico, and I'm about to do a presentation in front of like 50-something engineers, and I'm getting the equipment ready to go, and suddenly I became violently sick. I mean, we went to the doctor afterwards, and I had food poisoning. I had a 103 temperature. I was jacked. So when it hit me, I was on the phone with Ray, and I literally just said, I got to go. And I took off running, went to the bathroom, and I was there for a while. And then finally, when I was recovered enough, I felt like, I called Ray back. Now, you have to remember, Ray deals with everybody over the phone, so he has to be Captain Obvious kind of, because he can't assume anything. So you guys have dealt with him on the phone. He'll say, let me see where you got that connected. Let me see where you got that, because he can't assume anything. So he tends to be, he said, John, what happened? And I said, and I don't know if you know Ray, but his voice will go up when something like, and he goes, I said, man, Ray, I just got bad sick. I mean, like violently sick. And Ray goes, man, you're in Mexico. And I said, yeah. He goes, that's not good. I went, yeah. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate that.
That's a great reminder. All right, so we see that this one's already passed. It's all 99, so
Good
it's
deal.
good to go.
Perfect.
So that one's passed.
So we have shown now, let's go through them real quick before we turn it over to Ray, that we've shown you the normal full load, light load power factor test. We did that on the 12S. Then we showed you that for a solar setup, you can change from delivered to received, so you get a positive registration value when you get that versus negative. And then also Jeremiah showed us that you can separate out by element if you want to do that. So if you do that, you could have as many as 9 tests. You could have each element for A phase, each element for B, and each element for C. Okay? We showed you that if you can't pull the meter, we can still test with the 4 series because we can use a meter adapter, and you saw that in action as well. We can also, any USB barcode scanner will work with our equipment, so you could plug that in there and use that to register the numbers like Jeremiah demonstrated all that. So now we're going to go to a verification of a 4 series with the professor.
Good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. This is Ray. Again, I've been with Powermetrix going on 10 years, and I'm going to talk to you about using the 4 series to run a verification test is what we're going to do this morning. So I'm going to start with what you'll need to perform this test. If you can see, I've got my voltages here, which that's actually a jumper that we sell that you will need. And you will also need this neutral to ground, which I don't have the ground hooked up, but you will need the neutral hooked up. And of course you will need the AC going to your standard. Again, guys, you need to make sure that your standard is at least 4 times better than what piece of equipment that you're testing. So, and let's move down to the currents. I've got my currents here. And this, of course, is a prototype, what you're looking at. We have some that is according to what type of standard you're using. We have some with ring terminals. The others are slender 6mm cable, current cables. So we do have different selections here. And we do have the base that you can actually plug into your 4 series, which I'm showing you here. So we have that as well. And also you will need the digital standard in here that actually connects to your standard. And I'm using a single phase standard. Okay, so and we call that the digital cable. And I will show you too, the way I have the AC hooked up here, I've got my ground plugged up along with my neutral, my black, and my red. So I have those tied together. So if we can move on here to the display of the analyzer. So what we're looking at now is the calibration verification. So we're going to select 4, and we're going to do a auto cal. We're going to do an auto calibration check with load box. I'm going to hit enter. Okay. So here you've got a standard KT value of 0.0001. If you were using a 3-phase unit, which is standard, you would type in here 0.0003. So we're going to leave it as 1 because I've got a single phase standard. Energy test mode, we're doing watt hours. And the WFG Test Setup. Okay, that's a template that is actually inside the analyzer that you will actually utilize to run the test. So what I want to do is I want to go and run a short test for you guys. And if you can see, you can create as many as you like. You can create some starting out at 1/10 of an amp, half an amp, 1 amp, 2.5 amps, 5 amps. All the way up to whatever type of equipment you're testing, which we do have a 4154, so it's good for 50 amps. So you can go up to that point as well. Okay, so I've got the short test selected. All right, and I'm gonna make sure it's timed. And then you have what we call down there at the bottom, delay between each page. I'm not going to select that. I'm going to leave that blank and just let it keep rolling.
What does it do?
It just gives a delay before each second. In other words, it delays from test points. Then we're going to do start test. Now I will say too, during the pre-test status check, which we're going to check configurations, and then you'll see the green light starting load box, and then of course it's making fine adjustments. And I will say too, in user preferences, if you're not getting any pulses that's coming out of your aux digital, you might need to make sure that you have that selected, because if you have it selected to internal, you're not going to get any pulses to your standard. Okay, so we're making fine adjustments here. Now we're allowing systems to stabilize. And what I would do during this test too is once it's done, you guys can actually save it, leave it in the analyzer, or what I normally do is I actually pull it out of the analyzer, delete it out of there, so you're not carrying around a bunch of memory, and then just store it, because it's actually an Excel spreadsheet, and you can email it, you can put it in a folder, and all right, so now it says checking for valid signals.
Ray, can I run this overnight?
Yes, you can run it overnight. Okay, so now we're making fine adjustments. Now we are at our first starting point. Now, I will say this, you can create your own template. So what you want to do is you can create your own phase shifts. You know, if you're wanting a different voltage, of course, you've got to set that, either use a transformer or something other with that, if you're wanting higher voltages than 120 volts. Okay, so now it's allowing the system to stabilize. And again, this analyzer here that I'm using is a 0.04 analyzer. So again, you want the standard to be 4 times better than that. I will say too that you could also set your time up. So let's say that you want to, let it run for 10 minutes to get everything warmed up or whatever. You can set that as your choice of what you want to do there. Now, so if you're looking here, I've got my first result with about 1,600 pulses, and it's still counting, of course. And I've got 119 volts at 1/10 of an amp with unity power factor. And you can see my watts and my volt amps and my var hours. And that first test was 0.012%. And then again, this is a very short test. So we're going to let it run one more time.
And Ray, depending on the standard, isn't that what really, this is, you were talking about the differences, so we may have to have a different cable setup, right?
Yes, you will. It will require, different standards will require different cable setups.
Right.
Some of the adapters that we do offer does have the ring terminals that you can actually either attach to the top, or you can use the 6 millimeters that you can actually push into the standard. Of course, you would use your voltage source. And the cool thing about it is this whole setup will work with the 7 series as well, or the 3 series.
Yep.
Okay, we'll let it run one more test, and see if you guys have any questions about this. Again, this is very easy to do. I have actually let it run for hours, and there is some long tests that you can do. So we're on the second one now. I will say this too, on a 7 series, you have your choice of voltages, so you can run a 120 volt, you can run a 240 volt, 277. You can set your template up to whatever you want to run per that test. Okay, so our last one here, and they're looking at me telling me it's time to quit. So I'm looking at voltage here of 119.8 and current at 1/4. Now again, these templates that you're seeing here is actually into the unit. So all these are pre-set up for you guys. So the only thing you have to do is just let it rock and roll and do it, set it up the way I've done here. And you can provide a test for whomever, a verification for whomever is wanting to know how accurate the machine is. And so you have that availability. Again, if you're having any trouble with this, give me a call, 865-414-3562, and I will be more than glad to help you with any of this. I thank you guys a lot. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. So now, going back through it again, we have seen normal tests with the 4 series. We've seen how you can set up to do solar stuff. You can set up by elements. We got a lot of variables that we can put in there so you can create all kinds of tests for whatever you have out there. You can do a creep test, set it up on a creep test and warm up so you can program your meters. You can also test them. So you got actually a combo warm up board and test kit. You can see that if you can't pull the meter, and this is a problem for some folks, it's not for the Powermetrix 4 series, you can go ahead and put that adapter in there and you can connect up and still test that meter. You can also use any USB barcode scanner with it if you'd like to pop that information in there for you. And you've seen that you can use another standard to do a verification on the equipment. You know, difference out there between verification and calibration is you can do a verification just to see if you've had any creep, but then if you need an actual calibration done, then you would send it to us. But we can just send you a cable set and you can do your own verifications if you'd like. So we really appreciate everybody. We really appreciate you guys being with us again today here in the bunker. And yes, and so I'll mention that again because Chris made me that you're going that this Friday, which is tomorrow, you will get the next 4 that we're going to do in the series. And like I said, these are coming directly from customers, a lot of it. So we're pretty excited about that. Hopefully you'll get to see some stuff you can use. And, you guys thought I was going to close out without praying, huh? No, not a chance.
Not a chance.
All right. If you wouldn't mind joining me. Precious Heavenly Father, it seems like we're starting to see some positivity in our country now with all this, and places are starting to open up, and we're seeing hope start rising up again. And Father, I'd mentioned in one of my earlier prayers that when Jesus went down to the pools at Bethesda and he was right there and everybody was looking in the pools instead of at him, when the Jewish leaders asked him, they said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Hey, my Father's working and I'm working." And if you look at what's going on in our country, you can see that he's working. So we just appreciate that. Thank you, Lord, for us starting to see the other side of this. Thank you so much for the attention we've gotten from these folks. Please let them get home safe to their families. That's the most important thing. And Father, thank you so much for Jesus and what he did. All of these now I say and ask according to the will of the one who paid it all, my brother, Jesus Christ. Amen.